So today I'm actually indulging myself a little bit by talking about a subject that I find enchanting and interesting, but I also find it can be a little annoying. Manifestation. So my title is, It's Not Magic, Manifestation and Malarkey. And one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about manifestation is because, it's something that in our teaching, they've been talking about it for, 150 or so years or more. And it's wonderful to see that it's an idea that has been picked up by the world at large, or certainly here in America at large, that people talk about it, and it makes me happy when I see people talking about how they're able to use their thoughts to achieve their dreams. But then a few weeks ago I was reading a story about, manifestation, be careful. And it was the story of a few people, but in particular a woman who had really been so unhappy, and then she had found a manifestation guru who had kind of said, well, take this class and I'll teach you how to manifest your dreams. Oh, it didn't work? Well, you did it wrong. You need to take another class. And then, and so pretty soon the woman who was hoping to have a life of prosperity was out like $3,000 or $4,000 that she could not afford. And I was like, wait, that's not how we teach manifestation. That's not what it's about. What we refer to as manifestation is not magic. You don't need anyone to do it for you. But it may seem magical, even though it's not really magic. Because the word magic, to me, when I think about magic, my favorite idea of magic is having a fairy godmother that appears with a wand and says, what would you like? But no, we're not. Well, maybe we are Cinderella in our hearts. I don't know. Or the other is, to think of a Halloween witch with a big kettle boiling, I don't know, bat's ears or something, to make this kind of spell-casting stew. And the thing about that is these images that we have of Halloween witches are actually based on the idea of the country healer, the wise woman who lived in medieval times and would get in trouble with the local authorities, and so became someone to be afraid of, but not really the truth. Although, there are people who call themselves witches today. But as far as I know, what they're doing when they say they're doing a spell, they're kind of doing an affirmation, to be honest. That's how it seems to me. I haven't really gotten into it. But for most of us, when we use the words magic or magician, we're thinking of a Las Vegas show, right? Something really fun, something that seems real, but it's actually just a clever illusion, which is why some magicians even call themselves illusionists. And I don't mind. I'm happy if they play their tricks. It's very entertaining. I always enjoy a good magic trick. But manifestation, what we refer to as manifestation, is not magic. It's not a trick. It's not malarkey. It's not foolishness. In fact, if you go to what we call our textbook, The Science of Mind, written by ErnestHolmes, the words manifest, manifesting, manifestation are used nearly 300 times. And I just wanted to say, because I do want to share a quote from ErnestHolmes. So before I do that, since he wrote this book almost 100 years ago, I just want to stop and say that when Holmes speaks about God. He is not speaking about a being in the sky or anywhere else. He's not talking about anyone who rules the universe or decides things on our behalf or for us. He is speaking of what he also called the thing itself, or this thing called life. Or I really like the way Dylan Thomas, the poet, put it when he referred to it as the force that through the green fuse drives the flower. God is not a puppeteer. Personally, I think of it as beingness. Beingness, eternally becoming, unfolding into livingness, life. So some people might want to choose to think of it as their higher power, but you get to call it whatever you want. So here's what Holmes said in The Science of Mind, actually just in the glossary. So I really recommend sometime, don't start at the beginning of the book, just jump to the glossary in the back of the book. It's very concise, well, compared to the whole book. He said, to manifest means to show forth or make evident. Everything we see, plants, animal, man, every visible thing is a manifestation of God, differing only in degree. And every manifestation contains, in essence, the whole, in the same way that one drop of ocean water is as perfect, in essence, as the whole body of the ocean. You see, the truth is, manifestation isn't something that happens sometimes in response to an affirmation or a treatment or to paying $4,000. It isn't. Manifestation is a process that is going on everywhere, all the time, in an infinite variety of ways. So just imagine for a moment that there were no humans on Earth, that there had never been any human-like creatures on Earth. Don't you imagine that there would still be an Earth? A world evolving with oceans, atmosphere, mountains, deserts, forests, flowers, berries, birds, fish, bears, or whatever. Because life does manifest through evolution as if in an unconscious or subconscious way, because life must express. Love must create. And so it is that we live in what you could call the manifest universe, this physical place, our earthly home. And it's an amazing gift that we have been born into this amazing home that we call Earth. Earth and the entire known and unknown universe or universes are manifestations of God or unity, life, just like it was described in the glossary of the Science of Mind. Manifest means show forth, make evident. I think that ErnestHolmes, the founder of Science of Mind or religious science, had a pretty clear way of explaining the ideas of the broader New Thought movement of which we are a part, especially the ideas that were taught by Judge Thomas Troward, who was very insightful, but wrote in paragraphs that could be pages long. But Troward talked about something he called the degrees of livingness. And really, you might call it the degrees of self-consciousness. But I prefer the way that Holmes explains the idea. When he wrote, life is the animating principle of being, that inner something that makes everything live. Life and power are necessary attributes of a limitless being, or the limitless beingness, and go hand in hand to create a perfect beingness. Life is that which lives, and power is the energy with which it operates. Considering life and power as a combined entity of causation. This is what we call causation. How? What is underneath everything that we're experiencing? What is the cause of it all? Holmes says that together this constitutes the basis of all manifestation, both visible and invisible. So, I'm a visible manifestation, but what I'm thinking, my emotions or your emotions watching, those are invisible manifestations. So Holmes wrote about this. He said, in the objective world, the visible world, life is the power that binds everything together. It appears that life manifests on different levels. In the mineral world, it seems to be unconscious, and yet chemical affinity is a manifestation of life, the attraction of itself to itself. In plant life, this manifests as a power to express in one spot, but without the volition or ability to move about, pretty much, although, I'm sure you've got weeds and it seems like they're moving all over the place, but he says this doesn't mean that spirit is limited in either the mineral world or the plant world. It merely means this is one of the ways in which it works. And then in the animal world, we see different degrees of life's manifestation. From the first primitive cell to any being all the way up to mankind. For instance, he says, a dog seems to be more intelligent than a fish. Yet each has the power to move about. And in mankind, life expresses in terms of volition, making choices, and self-will. It is manifesting at the level of self-consciousness. He says, when spirit manifests in a purely mechanical way, we say it is unconscious life. When it manifests in the animal world, we speak of it as simple consciousness. When it manifests in and through a person, we say that it is in a self-conscious state. All different ways in which spirit manifests. So does anyone have any questions? You can ask me afterwards if you want. Does it make sense to you to say that in life there appear to be different levels of consciousness? I know my dog is conscious, and he communicates. He thinks that if I get up and head towards the kitchen, it's time to start begging. See if he can get a snack. He's not dumb. But I don't think he spends any time at all wondering about the structure of the universe or global warming, or even about whether he ought to be telling me it's time to go to the grocery store, get some more dog food. So it's actually a very big deal to say that in a person, life is manifesting in a self-conscious state. It's a tremendous thing. And Holmes goes even farther than this, saying that as this self-conscious state of a person's mentality reaches a larger world of realization and comprehends something of its unity with the whole, we say that it is in a cosmic state. Thus, we know of several different levels upon which spirit manifests. And he reiterates the unconscious state, simple consciousness, self-consciousness, and cosmic consciousness. All are just different ways through which the one power operates. And I would say, that's what we know about, that's what we can talk about through direct experience. What more there can be, perhaps, is yet for us to discover. So I'm just trying to go through some of these underpinnings of our whole teaching today, and there is a reason. And the reason is that when we talk about manifestation, I think the best way to understand it is to realize it's always taking place everywhere, all the time. This is what we mean when we say there is a power for good. There's a power for good in the universe that is greater than we are. And we can use it. We can use it because of this self-consciousness. And even, perhaps in moments of meditation or suddenly when you're looking at a sunset, you might get a glimpse of this cosmic consciousness. Because of this, our ability to do it, we can direct our thoughts. Just as if we were planting seeds like a gardener into the soil of the garden. Because of our self-consciousness, our conscious oneness with spirit, with the one mind, we are able to plant our thoughts and ideas into this one mind, the universal mind, and see those also bloom and flourish in our lives. So we think about life as being completely infinite, eternal, ongoing. And when we talk about it in our classes and here today, we like to kind of divide it up and say, well, there's, the ocean. Let's call it the ocean, the infinite. And then there's the mind, which knows everything. And then there's kind of the way it works, the subconscious, just like the harmony of the universe. So we can feel content that when you step out your door and you're not going to fly up to outer space, you just kind of know that when you step out your door, you're going to be on the sidewalk or whatever and can carry on your day. There's this wonderful harmony. And then in this circle of life, we think about what we call, I don't know if it's the lower or just the evident world in which we live, the manifest universe. We often, in the diagram, we have this big diagram where we have a circle to represent the infinite, and then we have some lines across, and above it all is mind and how it works. And then we come to the point of manifestation, which is also called particularization. And we even try to show it. For a long time, this diagram didn't make sense to me, but I know for some people. Showing a little V that goes down from the great infinite to particularization, right? So here I am, and here is this paper clip. Two very particular things. Yet each is made of the substance of spirit. So if you think of it, it's easy to think of yourself as being small or insignificant. But the reality is, I think, that this littleness that we experience is actually lending us a certain special capacity, the capacity for freedom, to make discoveries, to have freedom of choice, freedom of thought, the ability to learn, to love, to laugh, to cry. So we're bound by natural laws, yet so much is possible, right? We're bound by natural laws, so I can't just say, oh, I have made a decision. I'm going to be 16 tomorrow. No, it doesn't work that way. Or I'm going to sprout wings tomorrow. No, but I can choose to be happy. I can choose to be prosperous, and I can choose to be healthier today than I was yesterday, and I can choose to be sad or resentful or angry, and I can make these choices unconsciously. So if you go back to the idea that, they always say we're like a drop of water in the great ocean. So the ocean is very big. But imagine all of the experiences that a drop of water goes through, right? A drop of water gets to fly up and be part of a cloud. A drop of water gets to be ridden by part of a wave and ridden by a surfer. A drop of water gets to be, end up as rain in some amazing place. Maybe it's in the Colorado River. All the little things that the littleness of a drop of water enables it to go through, of course, in an unconscious way. So I'm just saying, don't feel insignificant. Think of this littleness as something wonderful, a gift. So we can be like the drops of water and have a lot of experiences in our life in an unconscious way. We will be born, we will have a lot of experiences, we will eventually die, whether we think about it or not. It's just going to happen. Or we can begin to use this gift that we all have of self-consciousness and make conscious choices. We can decide that we want to go rafting down the river or not. We can decide that we want to read a book or watch TV. We can decide that we want to take an airplane ride or not. I mean, we have so many choices. And when we begin to do this, when we're led by our desires, when we're willing to accept that we actually do have desires, and not just that we have these desires, that we have the God-given right, really. I mean, it's just how we were born, having these desires, that we have the right to make our life follow a path of our choosing. When we do that, this is being subconscious. When we're able to go through our desires and sort through them, pick out the ones that are life-affirming, that do no harm. And when we will begin to see our lives expand and our good expand. We can learn to direct our thoughts so that our lives unfold according to our desires, instead of just randomly going along with whatever is going on around us. So near the very beginning of the Science of Mind textbook, Holmes introduced the idea of manifesting, saying it is the nature of the universe to give us what we are able to take. It cannot give us more. Think about that. Another name for God is divine givingness. Our job is to accept, to discover, to become open. Holmes says, Spirit, the universe has given all. It cannot give more. It is up to us to accept the greater gift. He wrote, spiritual wisdom says that God manifests through everything and is incarnated in all people, that all is divinity, and that nature herself is the body of God. The mechanical laws of nature are set and immutable, but our spontaneous recognition of these laws gives us the power to bring them into practical use in everyday life and experience. So I was actually listening to one of his radio shows, which you can listen to on Spotify or whatever you use on the internet. And he was talking about that idea, how when we say there's one mind, and where do ideas come from? There's this law of harmony in the universe, that it's not because we have an idea that things become possible. Exactly. Kind of it is. It's that when we have an idea, we allow them to come into manifestation. So he gave the example of, and it's funny because Jim was talking to me this morning about Model A's, but he gave the example of Henry Ford, and the Model A, and other people who worked on the early cars, how they got this idea that there could be a horseless carriage. And once that idea came into our culture, then it evolved and evolved and evolved. Benjamin Franklin got the idea of having his kite with a key and seeing if he could harness the power of electricity. Once we got this idea, then it was followed up by more people like Tesla and I know everyone's telling the names. Other people, the man who invented the light bulb. all of these things, all of these inventions we have, and they just spread out into our world when that first idea spread into our world. This is the power of ideas, and you see how even in a culture, an idea results in manifestation. So I was thinking about the word manifest because it was like, manifest your destiny. I was like, oh yeah, think about that. Think about our, founders of this nation and their idea that they could create this independent nation based on the rule of law. Wrote a constitution, came up with a Bill of Rights, how that has unfolded. Or think about, I think it was Thomas Jefferson, and in that era there was this idea of manifest destiny, and it was going to be United States from sea to sea. Well, it was an idea, and it did happen. These ideas can spread through a culture, and when we look at how they spread, and then sometimes they subside, something new springs up. Sometimes there's periods of confusion. Maybe our society is about to get new ideas. I don't know. But when we see it in the big picture, I think it might help see how it can also be true in your individual life. So these laws of nature work in all ways. They work through evolution in an unconscious way. They work in society in both a conscious and unconscious way. And they work in our lives in both an unconscious and conscious way. So Manifestation is not malarkey, it's real. It's not magic, it's happening all the time. And what I wanted to do is maybe lay a foundation for us to understand how constant it is, and that what we need to do is to begin to direct our thoughts, to begin to make decisions about what it is we do want to see in our life. We've already received the gift of our minds, so we need to just learn to use them, because it's through our minds that we're able to sort out. What do I want to keep? What do I want to discard? What do I want to expand towards? This is how, with our thoughts, we create new tendencies in our lives. It's just like, I want to go for a vacation, but I don't know where I'm going to go. Well, good luck. It's good to have a destination. If you want to get somewhere, it's helpful to know where you want. Because the truth is, we're already surrounded by and immersed in a perfect life, a complete, normal, happy, sane, harmonious, and peaceful universe. But it's up to us to live the life we choose according to how much we're able to embody this life, this good. That's the real key to manifesting the life of your dreams. To come to understand life is already perfect. We have the power of choice. And a lot of the struggles that we have are not because life is not perfect, it's because we're very resistant for a million reasons. That's a different talk. But we can use our thoughts, and we can open the door to our good. We can move away from a sense of powerlessness and move into a sense of comfortableness, contentment. So I just want to say that there are many good practices that you can use to help you with this question of manifestation. It's fine to use affirmations and do treatment and do journaling and light a candle or anything you want to do, because what all of these practices are doing is helping us keep our mind focused, right? So if I write on a Post-it what I want to see in my life and I put it on my mirror, there's no magic in the Post-it. But it reminds me to use my mind. So we're going to be lighting candles in a moment. We're going to be doing affirmations. They're good. They're reminders. Because we're working with this power within. We're not working with the power outside ourselves. You know, when we say the kingdom of heaven is within, the power is within, we're one with the divine givingness, the great unity of life. That's what we mean. So I did do a little research on the internet for my talk today, and I did find out you could do a 369 method, an 1111 method. That means you say your affirmation at 11 minutes past 11. I thought that was good. The 777 method, write your affirmation 7 times for 7 days or something. It's not the ritual that matters, but doing it, remembering to do it, that's great. Those are all good. Most of these ideas can be fun. You can pick one that appeals to you. We have often in the past done what we call treasure maps, which are cut out a picture. You know, if you are interested in having a new couch, cut out a picture of some couches. It's not that the picture is magic. It reminds you, oh yeah, I am open to having a new couch. I I would like that. You become comfortable with the idea of what it is that you would like to see in your life. It's a way of helping you open that door to your good. So, in closing, I wanted to share a passage by Raymond Charles Barker from The Power of Decision, who wrote, "Your heart's desires are your great assets. They indicate the experiences you can have when you make the decision to have them. They are mighty potentials awaiting your attention. They should never be ignored. With correct spiritual understanding, they can now emerge in your life to fulfill your life. As you think about them, they stir within your consciousness as a baby stirs within its mother's womb. They want out. They want to be made visible by means of you. They're knocking on the door of your intuition and trusting that you will open that door. All creation starts with desire. God desired self-expression, and the cosmos was born. The desires of your heart are the possibilities that can be manifested in your experience. Your right thinking animates them. So start thinking of them. Start thinking of them not just as possible, but realize they are already so. A few days of glimpsing their possibility will lead you into planning for their arrival. Take one of them and make it so by knowing that it is so. Discard all indecision. Discard all doubt. Discard all fear, because you are a free agent as far as your mind is concerned. You alone decide what shall be. This is the responsibility of your life. The spirit within you awaits your recognition and use. And so it is. Thank you.